Welcome to PADNET Presents. I'm your host, Derek J. Simpson, Executive Director of the Long Beach Community Action Partnership, and here at PADNET.tv. On our programs, we introduce guests that will inform, engage, and empower you by the stories that they tell. And I'm really proud to introduce our guest on this particular edition of PADNET Presents because I've had the pleasure and honor of working very closely with her the last 2 years on a very special project here in the city of Long Beach, and that's Cynthia Bader, and you're with Long Beach Call, and it's exciting for us to know about what Long Beach Call has done in the last 2 years, but can you introduce yourself as to what your role is with the district and Long Beach Call?
Great, sure. So I am the program administrator for Linked Learning Career Pathways at the district.
At Long Beach Unified School District, I guess we should be clear about that, right?
Yes, Long Beach Unified School District. And we embarked on this project about 2 years ago after having a meeting with Jobs for the Future, who came out sort of looking at what is the employer, what is the marketplace, what is happening in Long Beach Unified. So we partnered with Cal State Long Beach City, and us to sort of look at what it would take and how we could build an intermediary. And that's what we started working on and named it the Long Beach Call, which is the Long Beach Collaborative to Advance Linked Learning. Linked Learning is the approach that we are using in our district and actually statewide about helping students connect what they learn in the classroom to their interests into industry and into business. So if a student's interested, say, in healthcare, they might join a healthcare pathway, and within that pathway, their English for their research project might have to do with health. Right, so they're sort of integrating what they're interested in, integrating their career technical kinds of classes, theme-based classes into their academics.
Cynthia, how unique is this? Is this something that Long Beach is doing and we're at the leading edge, or is this something that we're just catching up to here in the city?
Long Beach was at the leading edge of that. The James Irvine Foundation, in connection with ConnectEd, started the Linked Learning approach about 7-8 years ago. And Long Beach was one of the original 9 districts statewide to embark on. They call it the district initiative, 9 districts. Now there are over 75 districts. It's, there's a Linked Learning Alliance. It's a statewide sort of reform approach. But the big part of Linked Learning is connecting to careers. And so that's where the Long Beach Call comes in, is to help students, well, help teachers and businesses work together, to help educational institutions work together to bring career skills to the kids.
And I think that was one of the things that was encouraging and inspiring for me to be at the table, because at that first meeting, not only were there the 3 education institutions around the table, but there were also nonprofits such as myself at the table, and you were seeking our feedback on how we should move forward. I think that was special.
Right, that was really important to bring in the community, the businesses all together and have everyone decide what's needed in the community. And so the 3 institutions forming Long Beach Call bring in the nonprofits saying, what do you guys know? What can you inform? How can we all work and collaborate together to bring the community and bring all of the resources together? Because not one of us can do it by ourselves.
Right.
We need everybody.
Now, let's go back to the beginning. We had Brianna Hingo was sort of our coordinator back in those days, and we were all at the table, and we were trying to sort through, I guess, what was the first path that we took. Can you go back and reflect on how that process evolved to where we are today? Sure.
We trying to figure out when we brought everyone together. Remember, we had all those maps and going, and what is each of the nonprofits doing? What's the Pacific Gateway? What are the labor markets telling us? And sort of asset mapping. What are we all working on? And I think all of the groups together said the number one workforce development need was healthcare. And so at that time, the group decided that since that was the number one, that would be the focus of that first committee, was the healthcare. And we'll use that same format as we move forward. That, you know, now the healthcare has been up. We've mapped sort of what it takes to be a nurse. We've gotten some great partnerships with our local businesses for that, and we'll use that similar strategy to decide which is where we go next.
Yeah, and I know from a nursing perspective, it was interesting to see how the group sort of expanded as we designated healthcare as that industry.
Right.
Then the next thing you knew, in addition to the nonprofits and the education institutions, we then had some of the local hospitals at the table
Right.
providing their expertise. So it was really a good foundation that was laid first that we built on to get to the conclusion that the nursing pathway was important. Would you agree?
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
And that will happen, I think, as the next set of industry. I think we may look at the engineering, advanced manufacturing,
Right.
also the hospitality and tourism, some of the big workforce needs in Long Beach. We'll do the same and bring the same industries to the table.
Yeah, I
And
know
work together.
that when in one of our recent meetings, we also talked about the possibility of digital media
Yes.
as a possibility, and certainly here at PADNET, we would love to think
Right.
that would
Sure.
be the case. And some of our previous guests here on PADNET Presents represented sort of that creative space that they thought was a booming industry here. So the good news, I guess, is that we will all be open to exploring those options. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And when we look across our pathways in Long Beach and all of our schools, we have the entertainment, arts and entertainment, and digital media is one of the most popular. All of our high schools have that kind of a
Right.
pathway. So I think hospitality and tourism, entertainment and arts, advanced engineering and manufacturing, trade and logistics, business and finance, and health.
Now, what would you attribute the success? I know we've talked about partners, but there's a lot of work done sort of behind the curtain. When you think about what you've done there at the district to make this happen, what do you attribute the ultimate success to as we've come this far?
Well, Long Beach has a history of partnering and people really working together. And I think that from the Long Beach College Promise that brought all of our institutions together to work together, to our businesses, to the mayor's call and the internships, to just, there's a willingness in Long Beach to partner with each other. And I think that the success is that people came to the table and were willing to work hard. You came to the table and your input and just an excitement around working together, knowing that if we all work together, then the result's going to be students that we want and a workforce that we want.
Now, if I'm a business owner and I'm watching this particular episode, hearing about Long Beach Call
Right.
and the fact that all of these forces are sort of focused on my particular sector, how might I approach Long Beach Call to say, hey, you may not know it, but we're up and coming and you should really help us as well?
Right. Well, Long Beach Call is there for the business people. That's what we're there for, and our students. It's really a broker of relationships. I know a lot of the businesses get probably calls like this school calls, the city college calls, can you do a guest speaker, can you do this, can you do that? And they don't know how to help. But they can call Long Beach Call and say, hey, you know, I could be a guest speaker, and then Long Beach Call can connect them to the schools. It's really a connector. That
Right.
If a teacher needs a guest speaker, the Long Beach Call would reach out to the businesses. If the businesses have an event that they want to have, you know, students attend, they can call Long Beach Call, and we can arrange for that to happen. Internships, right now we're in our big summer internship push. We've interviewed about 160 students that are waiting for an internship.
Right.
We give them orientation classes, get them ready to go out into the work. If it's not paid, we can offer course credit. But we're here really to broker those relationships between the K-12 to the City College to Long Beach State, where we can all work together.
Now, you mentioned something that I hope students heard and parents heard, because naturally every student during the summertime especially wants to get a job that they can earn money to get ready to go back to school with.
Right.
But you said if the internships aren't paid, there's the possibility of getting school credit as well.
That's correct.
Can you share just how that would work?
For the high school students, they actually have a class.
Okay.
There's a teacher or myself goes out to the sites and works with them. And for their hours, that they work 120 hours, and then they get 5 credits, five high school credits.
Okay.
Because we really want students to be compensated for their
Right.
efforts. And the internships are so important for students. You know, you had a summer job probably when you were a student. In the year 2000, there were about 58% of high school students had a summer job. And today, 26%. And our employers, I know our employers want students and employees who have had some kinds of career readiness, but they're not getting it. And so it's really important.
Now, I know oftentimes employers, when they think internships, they think, oh my gosh, we got to put a lot of energy into getting them up to speed, only for them to just get their stride when they're taking off back to school.
Right.
What assurances, if any, can you give to the employers to say that the interns coming through Long Beach Call are really ready to go?
You know, we interview them, and we try to place them where they're interested. And Long Beach students, I think, are great students and ready to go. And I think if it's a mentoring relationship, right? When they take on an intern, there is a certain amount of mentoring that, but if you give the students a project, the Long Beach students are used to projects, they're used to looking at problem solving. And so if you give them a project, they will take care of that, they'll live up to that.
Now, I know that on the Long Beach Call team, we have people from different levels of all the institutions. Do you find that at the school district that you continue to get the support to keep Long Beach Call going the way we know the vision can be?
Oh, absolutely. It's so far, it's new.
Right.
It's a really brand new organization, and we are working really well with Long Beach City and with Long Beach State, because it's all about their students as well.
Right, absolutely.
It's getting all the educational institutions, all of their students having partnerships with businesses. And so if a business wants a college student, they also would call Long Beach Call.
Right.
If they wanted, city college student.
Right.
So
So from a business sector, if there's a sector of industry out there that thinks Long Beach Call should focus on their sector, for instance, they should get in touch. From a student perspective, if they have particular interests, then Long Beach Call is an excellent avenue because they can possibly get an internship, either paid or for credit at any of the levels of institutions that we have. And then from an educator's perspective, we're working in collaboration to address this holistically. I think that's a pretty good deal for this community, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And we're really, really excited about it.
Yeah. So if in the short moments that we have left, you could articulate a takeaway to the people that are watching about Long Beach Call, about why they should care and support it or get involved, what would be that thought that comes to mind?
Our students need career readiness skills, and we cannot do it all by ourselves. We need the business community to help. And when students see what the relevance of what they're working, when they see and they're excited, if I have enough time to tell about a student who really was faltering in school, and he got to do a simulation lab class that he was so engaged and so excited about that he completely turned his grades around, because it was an engagement that came from the real world of industry.
Right.
And so if the takeaway is our students need to have that career preparation.
Well, Long Beach Call is making that happen in a very innovative way, and thank you, Cynthia, for everything that you've been doing, and I'm proud to work with you. This is an exciting opportunity. It's showing how collectively the community of Long Beach, both business, education, and the families can work together for a greater good. Thanks to Cynthia for joining us, and thanks to you for watching this particular segment of PADNET Presents.
Hi, I'm Deborah. Are you tired of coming home to an empty, lonely house? Why not try Animal Match Rescue Team? We are a small dog rescue group in Long Beach. AMRT is looking for loving homes and has a variety of small dogs to choose from. Just come to Petco, 6500 PCH any weekend from 11 to 2 to see just a few of our little dogs. To find out how you can adopt, foster, volunteer, or donate, go to amrt.net. 100% of all proceeds go to our animals. Right, Pearl? You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to PADNET Presents. I'm your host, Derek J. Simpson, and I'm really proud about this particular segment as well, as we're all proud about PADNET Presents, because we bring really entertaining guests that have great information about what they do and how what they do impacts the community of Long Beach. Now we get to introduce to you Dr. Divya Joshi, and you are the Chief Medical Officer of the Miller Children's and Women's Hospital. Is that correct?
In Long Beach,
In
yes,
Long
that is
Beach,
correct.
Yes, and I hesitated because I know you added women's to the name with Children's Hospital. Start out by telling us, what does the Chief Medical Officer actually do?
Well, the Chief Medical Officer, number one, has to be a doctor, so it's important to have that pediatric background, that clinical background. And really my responsibilities range from ensuring that patient care is gold standard, and that the care is patient-centered, but also on the other hand to ensure that the physicians have what they need to provide that best care. So there's a quality component and there is an alignment component. What I mean by alignment is, do we ensure that the community needs for a certain clinical service are met? For instance, might there be a difficulty finding a pediatric doctor who can take care of diabetes? As we know, we see a lot of children with diabetes nowadays. So it's really ensuring that the community gets the care they need, that the patients and families get the care they need, and that the doctors have the tools they need to provide that care.
Now I would imagine when you're doing that assessment, there has to be an exchange of information in terms of from the hospital to be open to what the feedback of the community is in some way, wouldn't it be?
Yes, it is not as perfect as we would like it to be
Right.
in this
Few
age
things
where
are.
in this age where population health is the new terminology. We do get a lot of feedback and we seek feedback from the community. Just if I may give a few examples, Derek,
Sure.
we do have a patient and family advisory committee that is made up of, I would say, about 30 people. They are patients, they are parents, ex-patients, who really bring the information to the executive and leadership people at the hospital as to how the care is perceived from the patient's perspective. So we find that very important. Another example would be when we create a new service, such as we need a new clinic in a certain location, and we try and find out how to most efficiently and effectively create the system. We do have patients and family members come and talk to us and tell us what in their experience has worked best.
Right.
And we have multiple what we call advisory committees, whereby business people, anybody from the community who is interested can come, meet with leadership, hear what's going on at the hospital, and reflect back to the hospital leadership what the needs are in the community. So I think it's critical. Once again, the whole existence and purpose of existing for a hospital is to provide a certain care to the population that is in our mission. And so to do that in isolation would not be sensible.
Now, is that process of community engagement unique here in Long Beach or specifically at the hospital, or is that something that's an industry trend right now?
Well, I think that it's not completely unique, but I certainly know of many hospitals that are not that in tune with their community.
Right.
So I would say that we might be in the top third, but I am not aware of any particular research that's been done in this area.
Right. Now, let's go back to the original comment I made about the name change of the hospital. Can you share what brought that on?
Yeah, so the new element was women's. We used to
Right.
just be Miller Children's Hospital of Long Beach. The reason is that really what a name does, it reflects the identity of an entity, and in this case it reflects the scope of services that a hospital provides. And as you know, part of the Children's Hospital is also obstetrics, and so we take care of mothers-to-be and they are not yet born babies. We ensure that any potential complications are taken care of, and we strongly felt that a child's health care can really start before the baby is born, if you will, and that adding the term women's to our name would just reflect the fact that we offer, we think, the best care to the baby-to-be up until early adulthood.
I know in recent months my granddaughter actually had to be admitted there at the hospital, and I thought it was so cool to go up to the floor, and they had like a little children's play area there on the floor, and she was terrified. I mean, I guess I've had so many surgeries, unfortunately, I just didn't think twice, but she was terrified about the fact that she was in a hospital. But you guys do an amazing job of making the mom and the child feel comfortable as they can be in that process, wouldn't you say?
Well, that makes me very happy to hear that,
Yeah.
because I agree that is very important. Anxiety is not just important because it is a very negative emotion, but we know that it actually causes certain physiologic changes in the human mind and body that can lead to health and emotional problems down the road. Times have changed. I'm sure you remember when we were children, you know, parents couldn't just come and visit, but we have completely open visiting hours, and we actually have a little cot in the patient room where a parent can stay overnight. Any procedures, even if the child needs an operation and goes to the surgery suite, the mother or the father can accompany the child into the operating room until the child falls asleep. We feel that is very important. Other components that contribute to a child's emotional and spiritual well-being is a team of people called child life therapists, and they basically undergo training to learn how to play with children. And it's really therapeutic play, so they reenact with dolls what might happen to the child while they are in the hospital. And so as children can play their reality on a doll, they lose their anxiety and their concerns.
Interesting.
It helps the parents too, believe it or not.
I've never heard that. Is that something new, or is it just that I'm not aware?
It's not that new, and I would say that every single children's hospital has a child life team. They accompany the child to procedures, they help with pain, they help with anxiety. And speaking of pain, we have a pediatric specific sedation team, and what they do is they give out the sleepy medicine to help the child with going to sleep and feeling less anxiety during procedures. So yeah, we really try and place a strong emphasis on normalizing a child's life in the hospital. Of course, that's not completely possible, but what makes a child normal is to learn, be that in kindergarten level or be it at school level, and we enable continuation of that as much as the child can tolerate, as well as having play activities. And you earlier mentioned playrooms, and we have playrooms devoted to little children where they can crawl around and put things in their mouths, and we have a teen lounge that is really kind of very grown up and has TV screens.
Cool. Yeah, my 7-year-old is going on 17 years old, I think. Now, you guys are a large facility, correct? I mean, I think I read 373 beds or so. Is that, and you're part of a network, is that correct?
So, yes, so our hospital is actually the nation's 10th largest children's hospital.
Oh, wow.
So it is a certainly very large facility. Within the state of California, the California Children's Hospital Association is, I think, the network you're alluding to, Derek. We meet regularly, the leadership of the different children's hospitals, to address issues that transcend the individual hospital and try to really bridge gaps in care. And we also have a strong interest and presence in political decisions that are made that affect healthcare for children. So once again, we need to work together, not just with the community, but also amongst children's hospitals to provide the best care.
Now, blended with that personal touch that seems very comprehensive is also technology, but not just for the sake of technology. And telemedicine is something that I've read something about and seems to be gaining more and more momentum. Can you share how that integrates into what you do there at the hospital?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and it's really, really trending right now, to use the term.
Right.
Really, telemedicine is a very simple technology. All it entails is a camera and a screen. So specifically what we have done at Miller Children's Hospital is created a telemedicine link with a sister hospital in Fountain Valley in Orange Coast. And they have an emergency department that sees children, but they might sometimes encounter a pediatric patient where they feel they would like to bounce off the care of this child with a pediatric expert. Instead of taking the child and putting them in an ambulance and driving them all the way to Long Beach, because all it might take is a glance by a pediatric expert to say, no, you're fine. What they do is they have a visual and an audio link to a pediatric doctor at the Long Beach Miller Children's Hospital facility, whereby the child does not have to travel, and they have instant, live communication between the two doctors and the doctor and the patient and the parents, and the nurses there to facilitate the whole process. Basically what it means is taking healthcare into the 21st century. Not always is a face-to-face, person-to-person encounter necessary for simple things.
Now, I read once that you said it takes more than just fixing the body to fix a person. What does that mean to you when you say that?
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. Unfortunately, even today, mental health is something that is, it makes people uncomfortable to talk about it. I feel it's very important to understand that mind and body affect and influence each other. so that when a person is physically ill, it affects how they feel. And if a person has mental illness, it causes them to be at greater risk for physical illness. And that is data that the World Health Organization has published. It's available data. And I think we sometimes forget that. And it's very important to remember that when we care for somebody, particularly for a child, where the barrier between mind and body might not be quite as impermeable as we adults make it to be, that it's really important to take that into consideration. We decrease suffering by remembering to care for a person's spiritual health, and we also can set particularly children up to a healthy adulthood by caring for their mental health and well-being.
Real quickly, we were talking about working together as an agency, Long Beach Community Action Partnership and the hospital, and can you share just briefly the concern that you have, not so much the project, but the concern that you have with children that have severe illnesses and just accessing the care that they need before they're just really at the end of the road in terms of...
Children, particularly teenagers and young adults with a chronic disease, never really have had a normal childhood. They have not developed a certain maturity and a certain way to engage with their own chronic condition. What we see is that these children or young people fall through the cracks and don't get the care they need, and they don't do very well. So when I heard about you, it got me very passionate, because I thought this would be a way for your community partnership to really partner with us as the healthcare entity in Long Beach to ensure that these young people have a chance to take care of their health and grow into healthy adults.
Well, it's something that we're going to continue to work to make happen, because we see it here. As you said, it's a holistic approach, not only to the health element of these youth, but to their socioeconomic elements as well. And I think working together with passionate partners such as you, we can make a profound difference in the community. We could go on. I have so many more questions, but we're out of time. So you're going to come back one day, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Divya-Joshi from the Long Beach Miller's Children and Women's Hospital, a jewel in our community that does amazing work. Go there and check them out to see what they do and maybe how you can help as a volunteer or possibly as a corporate partner. Thank you again as a viewer of PADNET Presents and a supporter of what we do here. Until the next time, I'm Derek Simpson, your host. Take care.